have any connection or like grow up with any knowledge of like the amazing poetry tradition in Iran, like Hafiz and
No, I'm not trying to jump ahead or anything. I know we'll probably get to that, but it wasn't. I didn't
no,
really.
take your time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't really. I always knew I was Iranian Persian, but that whole side didn't really open up to me until I started practicing Islam. If that makes sense, you know what I mean. So the cultural, like it
Yeah.
was Islam first, and then the cultural stuff, kind of like came in, and I started understanding it more um, from that perspective.
And I mean, I'm always cool jumping there, and like, we just do
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
nah, man.
2 hours about that.
Yeah. But that was, and it's not to say that my father didn't teach me about Iran because it was very much present, this type of stuff. But you got to understand, I looked at myself, even though I knew my father's Persian, culturally, I just looked at myself as black. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was. That's my brothers and sisters, all my friends growing up. I knew my father was Iranian, but my mom was black. So I just looked at myself as black culturally until my mind just start broadening and I start seeing other things and learning about other cultures and learning about my culture. And then that's when it started to like kind of sink in. And then especially when my grandmother moved to
Mm.
the States.
What was your first kind of introduction to Islam, like not through your dad's family? Like what was the introduction that you had?
Hip hop music,
Mm-hmm.
hip hop music, Poor Righteous Teachers, you know what I'm saying? Brand Nubian. I can distinctly remember, I want to say I had to be watching Rap City or something like that, or Yo MTV. Probably was Yo MTV Raps. I don't think Rap City was there yet, but I'm watching Yo MTV Raps and Poor Righteous Teachers and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just saying, Assalamu alaikum, assalamu assalam. You know what I mean? I'm hearing all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, even in the Bay Area, those who know Ascari X,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like I'm listening to Ascari X, and I'm so I would say I was kind of it was the Nation of Islam or the 5% movement. I was just like I saw a couple of music videos, I obviously being a young kid, being into hip hop, I was just like, I was like, what's this? So I was like, Dad, are we Islamic? And he was just like, yes, of course. What do you think? Like, I was like, really? So then and right then I didn't start, but that's when I was just like, okay, that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? I started getting the African beads and you know what I mean? That was the thing and the black medallions. So I was into that. And then in high school, or I should say, yeah, right before high school, um, I was playing basketball, heavily into basketball. And then just so happened, all the coaches were Muslims. You know what I'm saying? We're African American Muslims. Were pretty much, the main coaches, the main guys, a brother by the name of Hashim, who's still like an alim, like a teacher to me and a mentor, and another brother named Sharif, you know, we just playing. So we're just 13-year-old, 14-year-old kids playing basketball. But then as time goes on, we're always playing in this league, just from a strictly basketball point of view. And then I remember the brother Hashim was like, yo, your name is Davoud, you're Iranian, your father's Iranian? He was like, yeah. So then he started talking about father in Iran. Little did I know that Hashim is studying Islam and he's about to go to Qum to study theology and Islamic, law and all this kind of stuff. But I have no idea about none of this. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, just introduced. I'm just playing basketball. And then I want to say it wasn't until a little bit later in high school I get introduced to Autobiography of Malcolm X, and the X movie by Spike Lee. You know what I mean? So that kind of just rocked my world. You know what I mean? I was just like, yo, what is this? So then, but as a kid, I didn't know how to process it. I just initially went straight to the Nation of Islam. You know what I mean? So I was just like, Nation of Islam. I start reading the Message to the Black Man. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like my introduction to Islam. But then, as we know, shout out to all the brothers and sisters in the nation. But there are some some differences, between that and our Islam. And then that's when I started really kind of like actually studying like kind of all religions, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, Hindu, all that kind of just like kind of getting into it and just trying to understand it. And then eventually led me to Islam.
Amazing. And were you involved with the community of Imam Warthi Muhammad?
So no, I mean, I knew some folks and I did kind of, a little bit participated. Like I remember going to Eid with the War of Dean Muhammad. They had the Clara Muhammad schools. I don't think it's there anymore in Oakland. But I remember I used actually one of my jobs that I was working when I had just graduated from high school. I was working at a hotel as a banquet server, and I remember the Wharf D Muhammad community had their fundraisers. I actually got to meet Imam Wharf D Muhammad, and I kind of came up through Masjid Al Islam,
Mm-hmm.
which is now I believe it's the Lighthouse Mosque. A lot of those people
Mm-hmm.
kind of went over there, but Imam Musa.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Up in I think he's in Seattle, but he had the mosque, and so I was going to there like all the time. Like that's where we would go for Juma. Um, but to even back it up, I want to say the first time I went to Juma or where I went to Juma the most was probably on UC Berkeley's campus.
Mm.
Because after high school, or even during high school, 11th, 12th grade, I would catch the BART. I would get out of class and I would take the train and go to UC Berkeley and go to the Juma on the campus.
Mm.
Um, and they would have different people giving khutbah, but a lot of the times it was Dr. Hamid Algar, who's also a professor at UC Berkeley, and I took a bunch of classes with him when I was there too, Near Eastern Studies classes. But I would say it was split between UC Berkeley campus and Masjid Al Islam.
It's so amazing, man. Like how much our like circles intersect with each other. Because when I was
Mm-hmm.
in the Bay, you know what I mean. Masjid Warathin and the Lighthouse were the two places that I went. And when I was going
Mm-hmm.
to the Lighthouse a lot, Imam Zaid Shakir was the Imam there. So
Mm-hmm.
this was like 2012, 13, 14, 15 in those
Mm.
years.
It's huge surprise that I never crossed paths crossed paths with you. So it's a trip.
Yeah, man.